Now, only a few years ago, the Doctor Who was out in the wilderness with no companions to fight monsters with and nowhere to park his TARDIS. But the Doctor's revival is still taking us by storm. He returns for his 4th series in his new incarnation later today. What, though, is the secret of his new popularity? We sent David Sillito to find out.
Exterminate! Exterminate! Exterminate!
Oh, no. Don't tell me that a rift in time and space has been opened. Because if so, then I can imagine what else has come through.
It wasn't that long ago that a fondness for Doctor Who, being a Whovian, wasn't perhaps all that cool. Now, though, they're out and proud.
It's so mainstream. You've got fans like us, but it's an absolute mainstream hit.
But you're a Whovian, aren't you?
On the snide, yeah, quite possibly, yes, I would say so. I'll admit it, yeah.
You can hold your head up high as a Whovian.
Yes, I can, yes, I'm proud of it. I've come out of the closet and I'm proud of being a Whovian, yes.
Well, thanks for your help. Tell you what, maybe you could lay off the pills for a week or so. What? Gotta go, sorry.
The reinvented Doctor Who has become rather popular.
Send out the collection squad. Bring them home.
I thought we might get a second year, just because the BBC spent so much money on it. I thought they'd have to, but I sort of thought that would be it. To be here 4 years later, and our last viewing figure was 13.3 million. It's astonishing and brilliant and exciting.
And it's not just Brits. The Burr family are from California, and they're here largely because of Doctor Who and this exhibition at Earl's Court.
She thinks David Tennant's very hot. Yes, truly.
Is that the attraction?
Mostly. And we like aliens too, though. Yeah, but mostly David Tennant.
David Tennant certainly seems to have reached a new type of fan. No wonder there's so much interest in how long he stays with the series. But for many, it's all about monsters and being a bit scary. But as every generation of new Doctor Who fans knows, there's one safe place to watch it from. Do you watch from behind the sofa ever?
Yeah, sometimes.
Have you ever watched from behind the sofa?
Yeah, the Weeping Angel one, because I find some scary. I had to go out of the room once when I watched the Saturn Pit.
There are Daleks around the corner.
Daleks? I don't mind Daleks.
Doesn't mind Daleks? What are things coming to with today's youth? David Sillito, BBC News.
Scared of Daleks or not, later on in the programme we'll be risking extermination when we speak to the man behind the voice of those creatures. You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. Let's bring you our headlines this morning.
You must be afraid of the Daleks.
Good grief.
Yes,
I am
now
scared.
you are listening.
Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Or Head Dalek. You are the voice of the Daleks, so let's see you in action.
Correct.
There we go. I'm sorry to, ruin the magic for lots of people, but it does make people feel a little bit more at ease if they know that the actual Dalek isn't in the studio.
Well,
with
yeah,
us.
just for younger viewers, I am, of course, impersonating a real Dalek, because you couldn't bring a real Dalek here. There'd be mayhem, cameras blowing up and everything. So this is how a real Dalek would do it. He would say,
You will be exterminated.
It's absolutely terrifying. Alex Waitman has been in touch with us this morning. He's 6 years old.
Right.
He wants to know how the Dalek's voice gets to be so scary.
well, I just have to get very cross. And, because if I just spoke normally into there, it would just sound a bit like that.
You tell my kids to do their homework, brush their teeth.
Do which one, Marion?
Whichever.
Do your homework.
That's it. Very good.
Brush your teeth.
Tell us about the evolution of the Daleks and what they're like in this current series of Doctor Who.
Well, who says they're coming back?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the clever thing that Russell T Davies does. He always adds something new to the sort of whole mythos of the Daleks. There's always something extra and different for me to do. But of course, if I told you, I would be exterminated. But yeah, the thing is that they were just created as a kind of really post-war horror story, really, back in the 60s, and also the terror of the possibility of nuclear war that was going on there. So there was all that thing about the worry of being invaded and the worry of being blown up or mutated by radiation and stuff, and that's what the whole idea was born from.
You've been here for a couple of hours now, and what I love is every time you speak into that microphone, after you've finished, you have a big smile on your face, and you think it's all a great big giggle.
But yeah, it's because it's a childhood thing, really. You know, I was into Doctor Who when I was a kid. And really, funnily enough, I was fascinated by the voice of the Daleks. So it is quite ironic that I've ended up doing it. It was never an ambition, because it's a sort of crazy ambition, really.
How did it happen, then?
It happened because since 1999, I've been working for the audio adventures of Doctor Who, which we were doing on CD, and now we're doing them on download, and they're still going now. And my day job is to be the producer of those. But I'm also an actor. And when we did the Daleks back in 1999, I thought, I think I should do those voices,
right.
shouldn't I? You know, and suddenly my childhood dream came to life. And because Russell T Davies is a big Doctor Who fan, he'd heard the audio adventures, and he kind of said, we need that guy to do it. Also because I've got this gizmo.
Tell us about the gizmo, because Bill Dowes has asked specifically about what the technology that turns your voice into that voice.
Well, it was sort of based on very old technology back in the 60s, and this is kind of retro technology. It is a kind of new gizmo, but it's based on old circuitry, you know, done by Bob Moog, or Moog as some people call him. And it's a ring modulator, and it's sort of, I mean, it's really boring to describe, but there are two competing frequencies, and depending on what rate they're at, it kind of gives the impression that the voice is being switched on and off. So, you know, if you were to turn up the rate, you start sounding really stupid. But then you can go, delete, delete, I am a Cyberman. So, you know, there you are. Hours of fun.
And you can add sort of moods and nuances in with that dial.
Yeah, really. We could do a whole programme on that.
Well, that is a programme for another day, because we're out of time for now, but I think you're going to be coming back later? Of course you are.
I will be back. Oh, I've malfunctioned.
You missed the Austrian accent.
The Daleks are cross with you, stealing their voice. Lovely to see you. Talk to you a bit later on.
Thanks a lot.
I think Doctor Who returns this evening, doesn't it?
6:20 BBC One.
6:20 BBC One. If you're a big fan, you'd know that already. Thanks very much, Mike. 9:45. Only a few years ago that Doctor Who was out in the wilderness with no companions to fight monsters with, nowhere to park his TARDIS.
But the Doctor's revival is still taking us by storm, and he returns for his 4th series in his new incarnation later today.
Well, Nick Briggs is the voice of the Daleks, and James Strong is one of the programme's directors, and in fact, you've directed tonight's episode.
I did direct tonight's episode.
So what can you tell us about tonight's episode?
Tonight
How does it end?
How does it end? I can't tell you that. You have to watch and
And are there any Daleks in it?
It's all set in modern day, and it's about Adipose Industries, who are manufacturing a miracle diet pill, which just seemed a little bit too good to be true.
And of course, the big thing is a new partner.
Yes.
Donna.
Yes. Tonight is the return.
Tell us a little bit about her.
Well, tonight is the return of Donna, and we last saw Donna in The Runaway Bride a few Christmases ago, and so this sees Donna. I think she missed the Doctor, and so she's been looking for him, really. So she's kind of investigating Adipose Industries as well, and the Doctor.
And they get
too.
together, but they get together in a purely professional way.
Yes.
Or something else going
friendship.
on.
Friendship. Yeah, best friends, I think.
So it's very
So we
different
can
to Rose.
Yes, I think we can say it's not a love affair in the same way that it was with Rose. It's a different relationship, different dynamic, which is great, I think.
Nick, people have a kind of love-hate relationship with the Daleks, don't they? I mean, they're ever so scary.
I don't know why.
What is it like playing the voice of the Daleks? Or, for some viewers, imitating
the
voice?
real Daleks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic fun, really. The good thing about it, it's not just a job that involves looking at a screen at the edited programme and adding the voice later. I actually get to go to the studio and we rehearse on set, because you directed the Daleks last year.
I did,
didn't you?
I did.
And we rehearse on set, and I'm standing there reading out the lines and pointing to whichever Dalek's meant to be talking at the time. So it's great fun, and it does do that thing that keeps happening here. A shiver goes down everyone's spine.
Or a laugh.
You know,
In your case,
I laugh
'cause you keep
afterwards
laughing.
because I've become evil.
We asked some of our younger viewers to send in some questions for you. Aaron from High Wycombe says, how come Daleks fought Time Lords in the first place?
Well, the Time Lords started it, you see, because back in 1975, oh yes, I know, back in 1975, in a story called Genesis of the Daleks, the Time Lords tried to get the Doctor to avert the creation of the Daleks. He failed, of course, and I think that made them cross.
Someone else has asked, what's happened to Davros? Because he was the
Stephen,
chief
yeah, has asked.
Dalek.
Yes, what
Dalek
has
creator.
happened to Davros?
Has he come back ever, or
is he here?
No, he's
I haven't seen him.
No one's seen him.
Yeah,
but he may. He may
what?
He may not.
Turn up. We can't possibly say.
They can't say. There's a secret we've got out of the bag.
Yeah, James, what has it been like with Catherine Tate involved in Doctor Who? She's been incredibly popular.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's brilliant. She brings, I mean, every different companion brings a different kind of dynamic to the show and stuff. And Catherine's great, and she brings her own kind of energy and stuff. And she's such a kind of life force, and she brings a sort of a much more of a, you know, because she's famous for being a comedian and stuff. So she brings a sort of a comic touch to it. But also, I think you'll see Catherine in a completely different light in this series. And I think she shows what a brilliant actor she is as well. She's fantastic.
And I know you don't want to ever give anything away, but are we going to see Rose come back at any point?
I can't possibly say.
No, you can't possibly say,
I'm afraid.
can you?
I'd love to, but I can't.
And are we going to see the Daleks soon?
What do you think, Nick?
I'm here.
He's
You
here.
never go away, do you?
No, I live here.
I think Doctor Who will always have the Daleks in his life at some
That's
point.
the thing, yeah, they must come back. You know, no matter how much you destroy them utterly, they
They're
always
his
return,
nemesis, so
don't
they'll
they?
always be.
At some point, who knows when.
Yeah.
You must have been asked this a lot over the last couple of years, but what is it that accounts for the fact that, you know, it did go out of fashion, kids didn't really watch it, it became a bit nerdy, and now it is so popular once again.
Uber cool.
I think that's part of that is down to Russell T Davies, the writer, who saw that Doctor Who could be much more than just a sort of a science fiction show. It talks about stories, the universal stories of humanity, and although it's maybe set on alien planets and other worlds and with monsters and stuff, it's actually about us, human people and human relationships and stuff. And I think that's its appeal, and to bring the show back with such style and gusto and kind of, you know, do it so well, I think it's made, you know, such a success of it.
And Nick, I mean, it does seem to have got kind of spookier or scary. I mean, you've got to try to find balance, haven't you? Because you want it to grip people and be spooky and scary, but you don't want to put people off.
Well, the essence of Doctor Who, and it was always scary. The essence of Doctor Who is really to scare and then reassure. So it's, you know, it's okay, because Doctor Who's nice and he'll save the day. Yeah. And that's the thing. So it's a very safe environment for children to rehearse the emotions of fear and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's good.
We were running a report earlier and we interviewed a couple of viewers, and one of the obvious attractions of this new series, or the new series, has been David Tennant. I mean, how key is he, do you think, to the current popularity of it?
Well, very key.
I think David's made the Doctor, you know, his own.
Best Doctor ever?
I think for me, he's the best Doctor ever. He's my favourite.
As his director.
As his director, yeah. No, but I think he's brilliant, and I think he's a massive part to the contribution of the success of the show. David is absolutely at the centre of everything.
He cares about it so much, and he knows so much about it. So, I mean, you see him, and he, like all good actors, he really believes he is that person when he's doing it.
But he loves it as well. He loves the show, he loves the legacy.
You all seem to love it. You all seem to get a great giggle out of it.
Yeah, we all do.
There's a real atmosphere of enjoyment there.
And it's been very enjoyable talking to you. Can we leave it to you to hand to the weather? We're just about to leave our viewers on BBC
Yes.
I think.
I just saw that man drinking some coffee in the weather studio. Put it down or you will be exterminated. And now the weather.
With Liam.
Poor Liam.
Thank you very much.
It's gone, I've put it down now. Anyway, good morning all. Winter bites back for us this coming weekend after a rather spring-like week.